Unopened Pandora back here again, and before we start, I have to start all of this off with a disclaimer. Oh, that scared me for a second. My audio was doing something weird. But yeah, I start out with a disclaimer here that I am in no means an expert on Norse mythology or cosmology. Most of my facts are coming from either Wikipedia or my reading of the American Gods. I also edit out all of the deaths, so I'm not going to be wasting your time. We made real progress in this video, and like I said in the last video, this is a post-commentary, just so I can talk about Norse stuff. And I'm really glad I did that, because this game scales really, really, really hard. It goes from being practically holding your hand and super easy to, oh, this puzzle took me 40 minutes. So if you're looking for a game that doesn't hold your hand and is actually a challenge, this is probably the game for you. The area that we are in, excuse me a moment, I take a sip of my tea, is called Helgardr by the game, but it's actually Hell in the Norse. Or, hold on a second here, the Norse have another name for it. As far as I can tell, the game has its own names for places. You can largely tell what they are, though. But, they call it Helgardr, but Helgardr isn't actually a place in Norse. It's called Hel or Nyar. And that literally translates to corpses, or the other world of the dead. And you note how it said other world? That's because most of the Norse want to go to Valhalla, which is like the Norse heaven. There's beer and meat and all that stuff that people like to drink. So that's, wow, I almost died there. So that's largely where everybody wants to go. No deaths in this, by the way, like I said before. I exited all those out. And that tree we saw at the end of the last episode is of note too. That is Yggdrasil, the world tree. It connects all the worlds together. And it's where the gods go every morning to do god stuff. Like decide what they're going to do with... I don't know what gods decide. I'm not a god. Also, this is the first instance where we get to see mazes. You see this right here? You're going to be seeing a lot of this. At least in this area. And the physics get kind of weird when you're moving stuff around. Sometimes, at least. And you have to be pretty careful on your buttons. Where was I? Right, we are Munin. We have a brother who is also... Well, he's still a crow. That's the one who's carrying us around, I figured out. Isn't figured out just now. Loki. Or... Okay, I need to explain this too. We are Odin's crows. He has two of us. We are Munin, and we have a brother named Munin. Our brother's like the opposite of us or whatever. But Loki, for whatever reason, turned us into a human and scattered our feathers around all of the 9 worlds. So this game is us going around with our brother and collecting all of our feathers to, I assume, become a crow again. We're basically Odin's messengers. We go around, I think it's Asgard. I'm going to assume it's Asgard. We go around one of the worlds with humans in it and report back to Odin. We're basically his eyes and ears here. Because he is off in Asgard, which is the world of the gods. And there's a bunch of other worlds, like, next time we are going to Jotnar, world of the giants. And the game calls it something I can't even pronounce. Just a minor note here, the game does some weird stuff with text. Some of them are really hard to read. I'm not sure if that's just me being picky or if you actually can't read them. It could be both. Largely the puzzles, they get harder from here on out, but if you're just kind of messing about, you can figure them out pretty fine. Also, if you're not paying attention, it's real easy to die. This is one of the first levels you can actually die in the game. There are, like I said, 9 other worlds. We're in the afterworld, or one of them, Hell. There's a world of elves, a world of giants, two worlds of gods, and a world of humans. There's also a world of dwarf and fire and ice, but I'm actually not sure if dwarfs were actually a part of Norse mythology. I mean, apparently they were, but I never heard of them. Not much else to say about that. We are going to meet a character. Well, excuse me while I sneeze. Wait. I really hope I got the mute button in time. If not, I apologize for your ears. Oh. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, dwarves. Not really sure if they're a part of Norse mythology or not, but I'm going to assume they are. Also, Yggdrasil. Giant ash tree connects all the worlds. Something about gods. Um, it's a pretty trees largely are pretty big in religions both new and old. Christianity has the crap. What is it? I'm Lutheran. I should know this. The Tree of Life. Yeah, that one. I know that. Why can't I think of my religion state? Muslim? No. Some other one has a tree too. I can't remember. See how well prepared I came to this video? This is actually my third time trying to record this. I scrapped the other two recordings, they're boring, and if things keep going like they are now, I'm going to scrap this one too. We just have to make it to about the 11-minute mark. And then things are going to pick up because I get to talk about somebody else that we're going to meet. The game doesn't make a huge deal out of her, but she's kind of important in Norse mythology. Also, Odin apparently traveled here for some reason, and so did Loki, but I didn't really read into why. I do my research before I record these, by the way. Also, the main reason I edit is not to waste your time, because who wants to watch somebody die or try to stumble through a puzzle for 40 minutes? I mean, my time is pretty valuable to me. I'm going to assume it's pretty valuable to you, too. That's why I edit stuff that gets boring. I only had to speed up one of these other segments, though, because it took me like 40 minutes. And I kept dying, and then I had to pause and editing. But as you can see, if you pretty much just spin stuff around, you figure out how to get feathers. Is that a person in the background in that cage? I did notice that before. The artwork in this game is really something. It is. Wow. Keep in mind, we are in hell. Norse hell at least, but that's still hell. And the art here is very pretty. This is with Fraps, not OBS, by the way. As much as I love OBS, I couldn't get to pick up the game. Nothing wrong with Fraps, but some of the things get pretty big. Like, for example, if I record an hour with OBS, it's going to be at most 300 megabytes. But if I record an hour with Fraps, you're looking at least 100 gigs. That's also the reason I haven't finished the game yet, because I don't have space to record anymore. Like, over half my 750 megabyte hard drive is for this game right now. That just gives you an idea of how much I've died and how long each level takes me. I think I'm pretty good at puzzles personally, and the game, or at least on the Steam page, it's 7 hours about, but it's definitely more than that. Speedrun of this, though, probably going to be like 20-30 minutes, I'd say. Probably less. Because once you figure out all the puzzles, it's not really that hard of a game. It's just a lot of trial and error at first. And this horrible water level later. I'm actually... which one is next? I should figure that out where we're going next time. You do get an option to select the worlds, and there's 9, I think, so we go to every world once. I'm assuming we'll run into Loki at some point. You can go away. Where's my YouTube folder? Yes, I have a folder just for YouTube. We are going to the water world next. And then the world of the giants. This is just a once a day thing, so don't expect, like, the whole game 5 minutes from now. As much as I could do that, it's not really. It'd be low production value. Let's put it that way. Also, the game gets really frustrating later on. Oh, actually, right after this level. The game really does stop holding your hand. Okay, it's not doing here. What you're not seeing in this actually is like 20 million deaths in this level. Oh, I forgot to edit out the pause. That's great. This is very high production value, as you can see. I got most of the pauses, by the way, so don't worry. This is edited down from about an hour and a half of video. Just to give you an idea of how long stuff took me. You also can't touch those souls, and they're important. But at least there's no maze in this one. You do have to play around with the physics a lot, though. Like, for this one example, you had to get the soul to fall in just the right spot. I'm assuming these are souls, by the way. I'm not sure what else they would be. And this is me just kind of fumbling around trying to figure out what to do. But after this level, we're going to meet a character who, like I said, the game doesn't make a big deal out of, but she's kind of important. Like, kind of really important. Oh, also, there's a small bug where if you go next to a moving object, you move up with it. It's not game breaking or anything, but it's just kind of annoying. There's also some physics bugs that make the game, some of the puzzles in the game, a lot harder than they should be. But largely those don't affect this level too much. If you just kind of stumble around, you get all the feathers eventually. At least for these earlier levels. And things really do get out of hand pretty fast. Next segment, like I said, is the one I'm looking forward to. Take a nice sip of my tea again. If you ever do have a video or do YouTube, or just record your voice for a while to get something to drink, it'll really help because your voice can get tired, you know. No milk though. Milk is really bad if you can do any sort of talking. It does stuff to your vocal cords. Ice cream too. Pretty much anything with dairy is bad for you. Alright. So after this segment I can finally start talking about the person that we're going to meet that the game doesn't make a huge deal about. There's also probably a myth or something attached to this, but for the life of me I haven't figured it out. I also haven't really checked. I mean, there's like a million Norse myths, and anything could be anything. I don't know why I just rotated that. Watching yourself play a game during post commentary is just really weird because you notice all the mistakes you made. And suddenly all those YouTube comments calling you an idiot and oh my gosh, you shouldn't this really make sense because they weren't that obvious at the time. Like right now, I can tell exactly what to do. But apparently I can't. At least the puzzle's almost done. If you do want me to do more editing on this to get just the solutions, let me know. I'm fine with that. I also haven't recorded the whole game yet because of lack of space. And because I can only play it for so long before I rage quit. It gets really frustrating later on. What am I doing? I saw the solution like 5 minutes ago. Come on, me. I really need to edit this down some more. I also don't want the videos to be too short, so I can only do so much editing. There we go. Now the game does nothing to mention her, but the woman floating off to the right there. Her name is Hel. She is named after this place. She is the keeper of the souls who do not go to Valhalla. And she is a god herself, I think. She's something. Also, she's supposedly Loki's daughter. And she is the birth of the phrase "go to hell," apparently, or something like that. She's actually mentioned quite a bit through Norse mythology, and I'm also not sure how she is Loki's daughter, but that shows how much I know about this. Also, why is Loki the antagonist in all of this stuff? Is he really that bad? I mean, he's always portrayed, so he has to be, right? Let's see here. Wow, he has a really long Wikipedia page. I am not reading all of this. I should have done this before. Is there anything interesting about the world tree that I missed talking about? It's apparently an ash tree. Not sure if the ash was sacred to the Norse or not. I'm just going to assume maybe. Oh, also, this is a segment that's sped up at 2 times the speed, so sorry for your ears. I was going to do it at 4, but then it was like a 30-second segment. And this is the hardest puzzle in the game at this point. Not now, but up until this point it was the hardest puzzle. For me, at least. Your experience may vary. Also, there's a lot of jobs that kind of look like you can make them, but you actually can't. So you just had to play guesswork sometime. And once again, I can see the solution, but I can't actually do it because I'm just great. It really is different watching yourself play a game than actually playing it yourself. Not different in a bad way, just different in a different way. Sorry if you heard that, that's my phone. There we go. Just my girlfriend, nothing big. Let's see. Also, you kind of had to remember which nodes do what. And there's another thing I forgot to edit out. So, I apologize. But yeah, you have to remember which nodes and which souls and which hole do what. Because if you can't get things to work, then you're not going to solve the puzzle. And that could save me a lot of time if I just remembered what does what. But I think this is the only level these things exist, because as far as I can tell, every level has its own gimmick. Like the one we're visiting next time has water stuff. And that is really annoying in its own right, but... What am I doing here? That's really annoying in its own right, but... It could have been solved a lot easier if I just paid attention. Also, the water mechanic's kind of buggy. Yeah, what am I doing here? I am really bad at puzzles, I think. But if you're here looking for the solution, this is it. I mean, eventually, once I figure out what I'm doing here. I'm really bad at puzzles. There you go. Come on, finish it. There you go. Can't believe I'm making fun of myself, but I mean, come on. Wow. I really should put this at 4 times the speed. Yeah, I'm going to do more editing after this, because I really need it, apparently. Alright, there we go. We finally did it. Now, this puzzle can go die. And also, Loki's daughter gets closer. There was probably some myth or something about her kidnapping Munin, us. But this puzzle can seriously go die. This puzzle took me like an hour because I kept dying. It's really, really, really easy to die in this puzzle, even if you do everything perfectly. Mostly because of the platforming, and when you fall, it's kind of weird physics where you can half control yourself, half can't. But I just kind of went to the last one. I didn't have to speed it up because once you know what you're doing, it doesn't take too long. But you have to figure out what does what and how many times you have to rotate stuff. And as you can see, it kind of looks like I actually know what I'm doing now. Also, I kind of wish when you highlighted them, it worked better. Because in some of, like the water level where everything's wet, you can't really tell what rotates what because it blends in. The red one's easy to see because you're in it, but maybe it was like green or something. Of course, by the time they change it, if they ever do, I'll be done with the game. I wouldn't mind some DLC. I mean, it's a fun game. It's nice. The game just doesn't hold your hand like a lot of games do these days. Because you really don't need hand holding. It's a puzzle game. And it's not like one of those 90s adventures puzzle games where obscure references and puzzles and Coup Finders, for example. It's not like Coup Finders. Speaking of which, I need to get back to that because it's been like a week. Maybe I'll finish that today. Not sure. I don't really have the space or time to edit any more of these. But the plan is once a day for them, of course. And should be going on for the next week or so based on the amount of levels I've seen. Once a day is when I upload, but I'm going to get back into more than once a day now. I was just starting to get a little bit burned out of YouTube, so I decided, why not? Maybe I'll go back to post commentary too and just edit it all up. Who knows? Anyways, I am. Oh, well, I can't do my outro yet. We still got like a minute. And this is me being really careful because I don't want to die with 2 feathers left. And you can do that. Also, remember how I fell into the ladder in the last episode? Yeah, that happens a bunch, so that'll be fun. And there's the world tree right there. And we have our world select. We only have 1 left. And then we unlock more. Anyways, I am unopenedpandora, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.